morning. My name is D.Newbold and my course is called One World, One Language. I teach normally at the University of Venice, and here I am standing on the terrace at San Servolo with the sun in my eyes and Venice behind me. The course is going to look at the phenomenon of English as the world's lingua franca. One world, one language is a question, and it's a question which raises a lot of other questions too, such as what is a lingua franca and how did English get to be it? And is it the most suitable language to be the world's lingua franca? Can a lingua franca promote peace and understanding in the world, or can sometimes it have the opposite effect? Some of the more interesting questions that the course will raise, I think, will be: who does English belong to? If we agree with most commentators that 2 billion people in the world today speak English, or at least can survive in English, that's a third of the world's population. A huge majority of those 2 billion speak English not as their mother tongue, but as a second or foreign language, or as a lingua franca. And it's interesting to think that, to an extent perhaps, English belongs as much to speakers for whom the language is not their native tongue as it does to the native speakers themselves. Let me just try to explain what I'm talking about. On the way to Venice this morning, I passed a big concrete flyover just before hitting the lagoon, and there was a huge graffiti scroll which read, "Regina, still miss you." And I assume that was written by an Italian for an Italian, at great danger to his own life because it was rather high up over the motorway. Written in English, but the final word "you" was spelt I-U, as if it were Italian. It had been adapted into the phonetic system of Italian. And it seemed to me that the writer was making the point, which is not only that I know English and want to make this message, I want to send this message to the world, but also I can do what I like with English. I can spell it in the way that I want to. And this poses an interesting question about how English in the future will develop. To what extent it will develop not by the native speakers, by the writers of dictionary, by the people who write grammars, but by the users of the language, who are even today already creating new words in the language and new structures and even new sounds. So, who's the course intended for? Well, I think anybody who's interested in the topic. You don't have to be an expert in linguistics, though we will touch on key concepts such as phonology and syntax. But more than anything else, I think this course will offer students the chance to do a little bit of research, a small-scale research project in this environment, which is an immensely privileged environment of Venice International University, this island, this English-speaking island, to find out something more about how English as a lingua franca really does work on this little island, English-speaking island, surrounded by Italian-speaking Venice and the rest of Italy. So I look forward to seeing you at my course. Thank you.